Welcome to another edition of Saturday Sit Down. This week we go to Manitoba where we find Calen Addison. And Calen, I guess first off, how are things going for you? How has your extended off season been?
Yeah, it's been going good. Obviously, it's been extremely long, and it's looking like it's going to get even longer here coming up. So, it's something that I've never experienced before. I know, pretty sure nobody else has either. So, um, like I said, it's just a long, long off season, and just trying to work out as much as I can every week, and stay in shape, and just wait for that call to head back down and be ready for hockey season. So it's been good just hanging out with family and friends, and enjoying my time off like never before. So yeah, it's been fun, but really different.
How much have you taken advantage of that hanging out with family and friends opportunity? Because as a junior hockey player and as you progress in your hockey career, off seasons are pretty quick and you've always got other things going on. I think of your summers, the last few summers, World Junior camps, development camps, things like that. How nice has it been to have a little bit of extended family time?
Yeah, it really is crazy. Like you said, it's been the last number of years. I've been pretty much going here and there and everywhere all summer. So it's definitely nice to get that time off and really enjoy that time with your family and friends, and really cherish those moments, because a lot of times the off season is definitely not this long, and um, you're gone all hockey season every year, so it makes it hard on your family. And so anytime you get to come home and enjoy that special time with those people is awesome, and it's so meaningful. So I'd like to say I'm as much as I'd love to get back to playing hockey, it's definitely nice to be home and enjoy those moments for sure.
Talked about how in the past handful of summers you've attended camps of World Juniors and Ivan Halinka and development camps for NHL teams. This past summer, you were able to take advantage of another camp in such a weird way. The NHL's return to play training camp with the Minnesota Wild. Walk us through what it was like to go down to Minnesota and experience that, along with everything that goes along with that in today's society.
It was yeah, it was definitely a different camp, that's for sure. We went down there and we'd skate and work out every day, and we got the COVID test done every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Make sure everyone was staying safe and nobody was going to spread that virus while we were down there. So there were so many guidelines to follow around the rink, and all the staff had to be following all those guidelines at all times. And like I said, it was definitely different, but it was really nice to get down there with that. It was the full roster, and then plus 8 guys or whatever. So it was good to be a part of that group, and good to get down there and meet the guys on the Wild, and just firsthand kind of have that experience of getting down there and understanding what their organization is like, and just the differences from Pittsburgh and stuff like that. So it was good to get down there. Unique situation, but they handled it really well. And obviously, the NHL hasn't had any tests, so they've done a terrific job for sure.
What was the experience like on a personal level? Because you were, of course, traded from Pittsburgh to Minnesota. So the idea of an NHL camp isn't too gone from you. You've done a few. What was the difference? How nice was it to have that opportunity to go down and kind of get accustomed to everything? Of course, you know Bill Guerin from his time in Pittsburgh, and Brennan Manel, a former Lethbridge Hurricane who you played with, was part of that roster that went to Edmonton. Was it nice to have a few familiar faces when you got down there?
For sure. Being in Pittsburgh with Bill Guerin definitely made it easier going into there. That's for sure. And knowing guys like Neller made it so easy walking in, and getting a text from a guy like Jared Spurgeon after you get traded there means a lot for to a guy like me who looks up to a player like that. So I honestly, like, it couldn't mean it more. The guys were so welcoming there, and like, just every guy would come up to you, talk to you every day about whatever, and they just treat you like your friend. I think the big difference going into this camp, which helped as my first time in Minnesota, was that it was definitely a shortened roster. You didn't have the rookie camp and this camp and then the rookie tournament and all that. So it definitely made everyone closer, and it made it a lot easier for me to, meet guys and have them come up to me and talk to me and stuff. So I think that was huge for me getting down there for the first time.
Well, let's roll the clock back and talk about your time with the Lethbridge Hurricanes. We go back to 2015, and you had such a tremendous year in Brandon leading up to the Bantam draft, and you're taken second overall by the Hurricanes in the draft in 2015. You signed right away. At that time, the Hurricanes were kind of going through a transition. Pete had just taken over leading into that summer. What made the decision easy for you to say, hey, yeah, I'm on board with where this is going and I'm going to sign right away?
I think honestly, growing up in, a smaller city like Brandon, and always playing the bigger city teams in Winnipeg and around, around against all these bigger teams and stuff, was we didn't always, we didn't always win. We didn't always do good, but we were, we knew how to play, and we would grind every game, and we'd do whatever it took to till the end buzzer. And I think that kind of shaped me a little more as a player, growing up on teams that did not necessarily win all the time and every year. And I think as soon as Lethbridge picked me, I kind of I wanted to be a reason why this organization was different, turned around. And I think, there was nothing to lose. You go into an organization that's been struggling for a number of years, and I mean, it's, everything's put right there for you. All you got to do is just take it and run with it. So, and like our team says, Brent and Pete always say, leave the jersey in a better place. And I think we came in and, really getting Jordy Bellerive to sign right after that was absolutely crucial to the organization. And obviously instantly that year, the team has totally turned it around with just a ridiculous amount of wins every season. And, that makes me pretty happy and proud for me and that group of guys, like, to come in not with all the expectations in the world, and just to say, hey, we're gonna try and put our name on this organization and make it a good organization again. And I think that's what we did, and I think that's what I wanted to do from the start.
Yeah, and it has been exactly that since that signing of you, and followed by Jordy. Nick Watson was a part of that, and of course hiring Brent. And I mean, the success
Yep.
has gone hand in hand since. I want to talk about your first full year in the WHL, because you got a taste as a 15-year-old. You played a handful of regular season games and a couple of playoff games, which I'm sure really helps a 15-year-old going into that 16-year-old season. But when you got into Lethbridge for your 16-year-old year, having missed a big portion of your 15-year-old year with a broken leg, what was that experience like, and that team, which was pretty darn good?
I think it definitely helps when you come up as a 15-year-old. Like, anytime you can get a guy into games at that age, it helps with experience. And then going home in the off season, you get to prepare, a different way, and in kind of knowing what to expect. But then again, when you're 16 and you come in, you have quite a high expectation for yourself. And I think you just have to really wrap your head around how hard the league really is and how many games you got to play in a year. Like, we've played a lot of games over the last few years, and it gets hard. It gets hard on the body, hard on the mind. So I think that's the biggest thing, was coming in and really realizing how hard it was. And sometimes you don't realize that as a super young guy. You're just energetic all the time. You're just ready to go all the time. And I think you got to really, just watch your body, and just kind of watch how the year plays out, because it becomes long, and you got to take care of yourself for sure.
That first year for you as a 16-year-old, a great year, 33 points as a 16-year-old defenseman, which is really impressive. But you guys went on a deep playoff run. You had 2 assists in that run as a 16-year-old. But what did that do for you moving forward? Of course, we'll talk about the run the next year. But how does a playoff run like that as a young guy shape you into becoming the player that you ultimately are today?
Yeah, I think, it kind of says it in itself. Like, I think there's no comparison, no matter where you're playing. There's no comparison with regular season to playoffs. Like, it's one game to the next, and it's like you're playing in a whole different league. I mean, some of those series we played against, Regina, Swift Current, like Red Deer, those are some bruising series. And they get hard on your body, hard on your mind. But at the end of the day, those games on those long runs were the ones that really, kind of shaped you as a player and shaped our team as, with an identity of who we were. And I think it just it just helps so much with playoff experience and just knowing what it takes to, do the little things right, because there's just such a difference between playoffs and regular season.
You're the type of player that rises to the occasion. We saw that at this past year's World Juniors, which we'll talk about coming up. But that second run, it was a 500 team in the regular season, the big trade with Skinner and Estefan and Nagel to Swift Current, and then you guys go on a deep playoff run. You were a big part of that, 19 points in 16 playoff games. How did that run to the conference final differ from the year before?
Uh, I think when I was 16, we had so much pressure. Like, our team was so good. We were so good on paper, and we were so good all year, and it seemed like we scored so many goals every game. But I think that next year when we traded Stu, George, and Nags to Swift, I think it lit a fire under us for sure. I don't know what it was, but I think that first day that we got those guys, Flo, Barles, Stan, blocks, like, I think we were a new group, and I think it turned us around. Like, just going into those playoffs, not having the expectations of having to win, having to go this far. We just had a ridiculous group of guys on and off the ice. It was just so fun. And there's just so many memories to that year that I could just go on forever about with my buddies. And it's just the passion we played with. Like, I think that'd be the best way to put it. We maybe didn't have this most skilled group or the best group on paper, but we just absolutely worked every game, and nobody could beat us in the first couple rounds, and we definitely gave Swift a run for their money. So I think that's the biggest thing, was just not having that weight on our shoulders and just going out there and playing as a young, fun group.
That year you played the Brandon Wheat Kings in the second round, and you beat them in 5. And there was that one game at home where you were down 4-0, and you came all the way back to win 5-4 in overtime. As a Brandon kid who grew up a season ticket holder going to the Wheat Kings games, what was that like playing against your hometown team? And you'd done it in the regular season, but it's a different animal in the playoffs. What was it like for you?
Yeah, that was unexplainable, really. I mean, I had season tickets 2 rows up from the glass every year that I was in Brandon before that. So, playing here in the regular season was super cool. And my first game back in Brandon when I was 16 was, one of the coolest things in my life. But I think when Brandon had won that first round and we met up with them, and like, I wanted them to win that first round just so I could play them in the second round. And that was just, kind of gives me chills thinking about it, really, just winning those series back in those fun times, and winning in front of all my family and friends in the crowd. Some big games there in the playoffs. It means a lot, and I know it fired up a lot of my family for sure. So those are the memories that, you want back, and you want to be able to do that again. So, who knows where it would have went this year, but memories like that, you gotta make use of them. And, I think we only played 2 games here in the playoffs, but it was worth it for sure, with the amount of people I knew watching, and just growing up against the Wheat Kings, watching them.
Your 18-year-old season, such a great year for you personally. The team ran into the trouble in the playoffs with the rink and a good Calgary team. This past year, it didn't really feel like there was a lot of expectation going into the season with a young group. Would Dylan come back? Would he not? He eventually, of course, did. When you look at what you guys were able to do this past season in 2019-2020, and unfortunately, it was brought to an early end, you must have been happy with the amount of success that the team and as a leader, the young guys were able to show.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I think you're bang on there with, we didn't have we didn't necessarily have the expectations again this year, and nobody really knew what to expect coming into the year. But all I know is the guys on that team didn't care what anybody said, and I think that's a good reason as to why we won so many games again. And we made ourselves, I think we were 1st to 6th in the league for pretty much the whole year, it seemed like. And I mean, nobody expected that, but we knew how to play. We played the right way, and I think it comes down to that. that younger, hardworking group mentality. Going back to my, my 17-year-old year when we went on that run and lost the Swift Current, like we were just talking about. I think it's the younger groups that get together, and the guys that are just get the closest off the ice have such good on ice success, and it's just a group that wouldn't quit no matter what the score was in the game or what people were saying about us. And I think that's why we had the success we did. And it sucks that we couldn't finish it, because I don't know what would have happened. Really, it was exciting.
I do want to ask you about that, because the team had such success through the year, and it seemed like you guys played the right way from a broadcaster standpoint. From a personal standpoint and a player standpoint for yourself, not being able to see out the end of a season and ultimately a playoff berth, which would have happened, and potentially a run, how disappointing was that? But also even more so for you, given that your time in Lethbridge is done.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I, at the end of the day, you don't know how far you're going to go in the playoffs. You could get swept in the first round. You could win the league. Like, that's just the way junior hockey is, and that's the way hockey is in general. But it just sucks so much, and especially with the group we had, with winning so many games this year and doing so good. I think we had the group that had the character to win playoff games, and it sucks that I won't be back to, like, I don't remember my last game in Lethbridge, and that was the worst for me. I didn't want to end after a week of practice after a losing streak on the road or whatever. I wanted to at least play my last game in Lethbridge, or be able to remember it. So that's what stung the most, and just not knowing what the outcome would have been. And at the end of the day, win or lose, I still wanted to be there and see the fans and, have one last, like, goodbye or something. So it was really weird, but it's just kind of the way life goes, I guess.
Yeah, well, especially in the world that we live in right now. You did get an opportunity to win a championship last year, and that, of course, being at the World Juniors in the Czech Republic. Talk about that experience, the tournament you had, what it was like playing hockey over there, and being able to do it with Dylan Cousins, who obviously is a Hurricane and a longtime friend of yours.
It was the best moment of my life for sure. I'm not sure me or my family could have drawn that up any better. Especially to have my parents and my sister over there, means a lot to them and to me. So, to have them there for that experience is huge. And I know pretty much every hockey player in the world watches the World Juniors every year, till whatever age you are. It doesn't matter. It's tradition in this country and anywhere. So to just make that tournament was the best moment of my life, honestly. And then the success we had in that tournament, and the players that I got to play with, like, holy man, just passing to some of those guys and seeing what they can do with the puck on a daily basis, and practice in games against the best in the world is just insane. And the fact that I got to go there with Dylan too, and have two Hurricanes on the winning team was crazy. So, like, really, you can't really draw it up any better. And it's a something I've dreamt about my whole life, and it was a dream come true. It's pretty much the best way to put it.
Was it extra sweet for you, given that you had been cut the year prior, and to make the team win it, but also have a big impact in winning it and having 3 assists in the gold medal game? Was it extra sweet?
For sure. I think anybody who gets cut is ready to go the next year, and I think there's nothing stopping a guy. If you put your mind to it, you can do whatever. And obviously the opportunity I was given alongside all those players was crazy, and I got to thank those coaches and staff and management so much for that. But it's just crazy, like, going back the next year after getting cut and having all this happen and end up winning. It's just, you can't draw it up any better than that. And the group of guys we had were amazing. The players are the best you can even think of. So it's crazy.
Moving forward for you, part of the Minnesota Wild organization after the trade, we talked earlier about going to camp in July with the return to play. Iowa Wild, American Hockey League. You kind of have a bit of a taste of the AHL, having played a handful of games in the Pittsburgh system. How excited are you, for when hockey does start up again, to be able to get down there and show your stuff at the pro level?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, especially by the time it gets started, um, I think I'm gonna want to play hockey again. So it's been a bit of a wait, and I think anybody who's not going to be ready to go for that time of year has got to be insane after this whole wait. So I'm excited to get down there. It was, like I said, it was awesome to meet the group in Minnesota and some of the guys from Iowa. But just to get an understanding of the coaching and the management and get to know those guys really well helped so much. And I think that's honestly going to make it night and day easier going in when I have to go back for the season. So I'm ready. And yeah, like you said, I played a couple games before, but I think there's a big difference between a couple games and a full season. So we'll see what happens, but I'm excited.
Only a couple more for you. When you look back at your time in Lethbridge, and I look at the stats, 16th, tied for 16th in all-time games played, 5th in assists, 19th in points, second among defensemen scoring in Hurricanes franchise history. Did it go by too quick? Did it feel like it went by too quick now that, you're 5 years later and you're off to pro hockey?
Yeah, well, it's crazy, but all I gotta say is like this is the best time of my life. I can't even like there's no other way to put it. It was the best time of my life. The best I played with the best teammates, the best friends, had the best, management staff, workers. Like everyone was just so awesome in that organization. And, just on a day-to-day basis, my teammates, like I don't even know if you could draw them up any better. Like just the amount of guys I still talk to every day that I've played with over a number of years, and I'll talk to them for the rest of my life. I know it for a fact, and that just kind of shows how meaningful junior is to hockey players. And I know any hockey player who loves the game will have the best time of their life in junior, and it goes by so fast. I mean, in the meantime, when you're fighting in a season or in a long playoff run, it feels like it's taking forever, but when you have good outcomes and you have good seasons, it's all worth it. And when you look back, like it just goes so fast and you don't realize it. And yeah, there's just so many good memories and friends that made it even better than the hockey was, which I think is the most important part.
I guess the last thought, and that would be a great way to end it, but you mentioned earlier we talked earlier on Saturday sit down with Ty Prefontaine and Coltrane Wilson, and they said the same thing you did. We didn't get to play our last game in Lethbridge. We didn't get to see it out. We didn't get to say goodbye to the fans. Here's your opportunity. What do you want to say to the Lethbridge Hurricane fan that's watching you right now, having supported you over the last 5 years? The floor is yours.
Yeah, since it's been a 5-year run. I mean, with one organization that doesn't happen often for anyone in any league, and um, I couldn't have enjoyed my time any better. I honestly truly think we have the best fans. Like I honestly do. We have the loudest rink. We have the best playoff runs. We have the craziest rink, the craziest fans. Some of the nights in that building are just they're crazy, and you can't settle yourself down because it's just so crazy in there, and the fans are so supportive. You see after autograph lines all the way down the rink and around. Like it's just crazy. And this is our fans every day. You see the stickers, the flags on vehicles, and all the fans are so supportive. They come talk to you whenever. You receive messages all the time from them, and you got to thank them for all that. And I can't thank them enough for that. I can't thank the fans. I can't thank my teammates, coaches, management, staff. There's just so many people that go into it, and I don't even think people realize what goes into a whole season. And it can come down to the team doing good and all that, but you need fans in the building. You need good people around you. You need good coaches. So yeah, it's pretty much just a thank you to everyone that I didn't get an official one out there. So yeah, just thanks to everyone. It was the best 5 years of my life, that's for sure.
Well said, as always, Calen Addison. We're gonna miss seeing you on a night-to-night basis, and I'll miss seeing you on a day-to-day basis. Appreciate everything you've done over the last 5 years, and wish you nothing but success moving forward. And we'll stay in touch.
Thank you very much. Gonna
All right,
miss you guys around there.
All right, there he is, number 2, Calen Addison on another edition of Saturday Sit Down. We hope you enjoyed it.